10% of the population share one thing in common. They share a specific learning difficulty called dyslexia. Privately, I am one of the 1 in 10 people diagnosed with dyslexia within the UK, and am therefore a part of the small portion of the population who struggle with it every day. In 2009, it came to the attention of an out-of-school tutor that my IQ did not match the level in which I could spell, read and write. So in June that year, I was sent for a specialist testing at a Dyslexia Action Learning Centre. So what actually is dyslexia? The term dyslexia is known as a specific learning difficulty which can affect the education and learning of a dyslexic student who often have difficulties reading, writing and spelling.
I was diagnosed officially in March this year, but I've been having extra time since September 2014 for dyslexia issues, but officially I was diagnosed on March this year. I do struggle with reading. I struggle with reading out loud because my brain can't process the words very quickly. I also struggle with reading on paper actually. There's shimmering and blurring and swapping and moving and general movement, which actually isn't there, but it is in my brain when I read it.
With no greater events than these in the Longbourn family, and otherwise diversified by little. Although all symptoms vary between person to person, a significantly lower reading age to the person's chronological age is a common trait. This is because many dyslexic people interpret and see the words in different ways. The words and letters can move and distort, and parts of the page can become lighter or darker to create shadows, which make the words harder to read. Research has shown that the strength and type of symptoms depend upon the person, as dyslexia is different for every person, and no two people show the same signs. Research has been conducted into the science of dyslexia and has shown that dyslexia is most common in families. Although the strength of which varies from person to person and the condition has been known to skip generations, dyslexia is inherited. Other research has been conducted into how a dyslexic brain is different to a non-impaired brain. This research has shown that a non-impaired brain uses 3 main areas when reading: the Broca's area inferior frontal gyrus, paretiotemporal, and the occipitotemporal. The paretiotemporal is the part of the brain that manages word analysis, and the occipitotemporal manages word form. Both these temporals are stronger in a non-dyslexic brain, whereas the Broca's area inferior frontal gyrus, that manages word articulation and word analysis, is stronger in a dyslexic brain. This means that individuals with dyslexia process things differently to those without, and can affect memory.
I struggle with remembering a lot of things. I struggle with my working memory and my short-term memory specifically. So working memory is like what I've just read or what sum I've just done in maths. I often forget what I'm doing when I'm doing it. Also short-term's more like going upstairs and forgetting what you went upstairs for, come back down again, remembering it, going back upstairs again.
Dyslexics' short-term memories can often be compared to as a shelf. People can be given instructions, but too many of these instructions and things can be lost or forgotten. This makes education and learning, specifically revision, incredibly hard for those with dyslexia, and they must use learning techniques that interpret visual and auditory memory into learning, such as videos, pictures, and colours. Dyslexia does not necessarily affect someone socially, although it can play a part in misconceptions due to how a person performs on a paper or in their speech.
I can't really word what my brain is trying to My brain struggles with my brain struggles with getting thoughts to sounds. Dyslexia does affect me socially, I think, because having a conversation with someone when you can't properly express what you're trying to say is makes the conversation not very flowy, which can cause issues. Also, you can cause misunderstanding of what you're saying. Yeah, it frustrates out when you want to argue with someone, but you keep laughing because you can't really say it, that you can't have a go because you won't have a fluent comment or a fluent argument against them. It kind of defeats your argument, and it can become very embarrassing when you can't actually put together a fluid sentence because your brain just doesn't let you, and that can be quite embarrassing.
Because there are many misconceptions and prejudices concerning dyslexia, many people still believe that dyslexia and other specific learning difficulties are somehow connected to IQ or intelligence. If unidentified, dyslexia can impair self-esteem at a young age and into adulthood, and may lead to bullying as well as labels such as lazy or stupid. For example, in 2007, Julian Elliott, a leading educational psychologist at Durham University, called dyslexia a middle-class way to hide stupidity.
My reading speed is currently a third of what an undergraduate's reading is. So when people know I have extra time, that I'm dyslexic, they immediately assume that because I can get decent grades in exams that I'm not dyslexic and that I'm kind of like playing the system, and that often causes problems, even with teachers, because they assume that I've cheated the system or shouldn't have extra time because I'm clever and can get good results, and they think that dyslexics are stupid, when this is not actually true. A lot of dyslexics are very clever, a lot of geniuses, a lot of inventors, a lot of people in history who made big discoveries were actually dyslexic or dyspraxic, and a lot of people don't know that, so a lot of people just assume that, or give me grief about the fact that I am dyslexic and I can get good grades in exams, because they just assume that all dyslexics are stupid, which is completely not true. It's more the opposite. I assume that all dyslexics are stupid, but it's actually the opposite. Many are very, very clever, but they just can't show their cleverness because the education system is currently so against dyslexics. It's currently at a disadvantage to be dyslexic in the education system, and therefore being clever and being dyslexic, people don't tend to associate together because a lot of people struggle. But this leads to a lot of prejudice and a lot of issues about it because people are not very kind.
However, there are advantages of this specific learning difficulty. So what actually are the advantages of dyslexia? One of the advantages is that a dyslexic person finds unique strategies and coping mechanisms. This may result in a creative way of dealing with topics studied, whereas dyslexics' weaknesses lie in reading, handwriting, spelling, memory, prose writing, organisation, study skills and time management. They progress with spatial or 3D thinking, creative ability, auditory, visual and video memory, imagination and out-of-the-box thinking. Dyslexia can be a disadvantage in parts, but can be used as an advantage to succeed in stronger areas of arts, sciences and many other areas. Some well-known people are not known by many as dyslexic, such as Picasso, Einstein, Agatha Christie, Winston Churchill, Steve Jobs, Walt Disney, Steven Spielberg, and many other talented people. For most, dyslexia can seriously affect people's lives, and it seems by many as something to be overcome. And although there are aspects of dyslexia that can be overcome with hard work, some may find it impossible. I am lucky to have been able to overcome areas that I struggled with when I was younger, with hours and years of tutoring and support from my school, teachers, friends and family. I have learned something that many people find hard about this specific learning difficulty, and that is that dyslexia should be embraced and accepted for what most should see it as, a gift.